Hi, I'm Mike West. I'm doing this week's Going Rogue questions. And before we get into this, I wanted to preface this little interview with, you know, this Going Rogue segment for the Rogue Country page was Josh Bettis's idea. And Josh really has been the heart and soul of Rogue Country. We started it to promote artists, not just ourselves and our friends, but artists we're fans of, artists we believe in, and artists we want more people to have access to. And the biggest thing I've been enjoying about Road Country is sitting down with Josh, discovering new artists and finding new ways to engage people and reach people. And like I said, Josh is the heart and soul of this, and his ideas have been so fucking good, and it's been a real pleasure to get to work with him all on this. So let's get to it. Question one: how would you describe your sound to someone who hasn't heard you before? I made a t-shirt out of this, and it's not country enough, not folk enough, not blues enough, too heavy, because as much as I love those genres, I don't think I could do any of those genres, you know, sincerely enough. I wouldn't want to ever sound like I'm being a cliche or a stereotype, and it'd be a disservice to the artists and genres I love to try and do that, so I put my own spin on it. I'm trying to get off the ground bastard country, because I do a bastardized version of it, so we'll see how that takes. But it's those rootsy traditional genres that I've been a huge fan of for years, mixed through like my punk and rock and metal lens, but with a complete and utter honesty to what I do. This isn't me trying to write a rock song as a country song. These are all written for this genre and for this format. They aren't, failed metal experiments. These are 100% love letters to these genres. So bastard country. I'm a bastard country music artist, BCMA, if you will. Yeah, that's how I describe my sound. People say it's too heavy, and I get that. And I get that if you're a traditionalist or a purist of those genres, you may not like my sound. But I think, as a fan myself, I'm open-minded to a shit ton of genres, from hip hop, black metal, death metal, country music, delta blues, jazz, classical. I'd never stop listening to one genre just because of its connotations or affiliations, and I think a lot of people are like that. So I think if you're open-minded about music, you may like my stuff. Question two: what was your first band? I've only ever been in one band outside of my solo Mike West project, and that was a band I was in when I was 18, called Names of the Fallen, and it was a thrash metal band. We were inspired by the bands of like Metallica, Sabbath, Kiss, and again we did it our own way with our own spin. And back then I couldn't sing properly, so it was a bit more screaming. I did a really bad Eddie Vedder impression when I was trying to sing clean, because I didn't have enough confidence in myself. And it was really funny. It was my brother-in-law was in the band, one of my best friends was in the band, and it was more of like a learning experience, and like, oh my god, we get to create music and get on stage and play. And Names of the Fallen was so fun. We only did one EP, and then it kind of fell apart because our drummer left, then our bassist left, and because we were such a tight-knit group of friends, we didn't really want to bring anyone else into the fold because it didn't have that chemistry. And if the same thing now is, if I'm not enjoying 100% what I'm doing, I just won't do it. So I don't want to ever sacrifice my own enjoyment to try and make some music that I wouldn't be 100% committed in. So Names of the Fallen was my first band. I'm still really fucking proud of that band and the music we made, and you can find it on YouTube. I actually use one of the intros of one of those songs in my podcast, Into the Van, called We Own the Night. And I really like that, and that was in a phase when I was really, I was young. I thought I was right all the time. I was confrontational. I was a atheist, but I was one of those obnoxious atheists who thought they were right and everyone who believed in religion was wrong. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that there's such grey areas in life that you don't really get to explore, especially when you're young and writing lyrics and trying to write songs. You're very, angsty and confrontational and fuck you and this is my way. And as I've gotten older, I've looked at those songs and wondered how I'd write them now. Because, like I said, there's a lot of grey areas, there's a lot of middle ground, there's a lot of compromise, and there's so much nuance in the world that I think you kind of either blind to, or you just don't want to face when you're younger, because everything needs to be right or wrong, and there's no middle ground to meet on. So I think a lot of my songs now are exploring those type of questions I had back then, but through, a slightly older, maybe slightly wiser, hopefully, lens. But yeah, Names of the Fallen was my first band. I had a boss time with that. I still have the Dean Flying V, tattooed on my arm. I've got it upstairs that I still play every now and then, but I doubt that I'll see a live show of mine anytime soon. Question 3, lyrics or music first? With writing songs, I don't think anyone has a formula, or no one that's not working on Music Row or whoever has a formula. So for me, it just depends on the song. So for Work On, which is track 2 on The Next Life, I have a new album out called The Next Life, by the way, guys. Track 2, Work On, the music came first. I had this Chain Gang-esque Delta Blues inspired riff, and then as I was playing that, I was, thinking about what would reflect, and I kind of just try and freestyle over that riff and see what comes to mind, and that was how that song came about. So that was music first, but then track 5 on The Next Life, Away I Go, the lyrics came first, and it was, the first verse is, I've been watching this rain bounce off my windshield, I've been staring at the missed calls on my phone, and I'd literally, it was a rainstorm, I'd pulled into home, and I just switched off the engine, the rain was hammering on the windshield, I looked at my phone, I had a missed call, and, it was just true to life, and it was, I ran in, picked up a guitar, and Away I Go came out. So that was lyrics first, and I write down snippets of lines and thoughts and feelings, and sometimes if I'm playing a chord progression or I'm just noodling around on the guitar, something will click, and then I'll think of that line, and I'll see if that works, or I'll edit it and things. So it's really just a malleable, constantly changing process for music and lyrics. So whichever one comes first, I'm really fucking happy about, because, ideas are something to be cherished, and they're a rare thing sometimes. So it depends on the song. Question 4, most memorable moments as a musician. I toured Europe last year on my own, and that was a fucking incredible thing, because, as an independent musician, no label backing, no management, no support outside of, my own, motivation. I booked, a tour that was, not only did I get to play in front of people I'd never played in front of before, and people actually came out to my shows, which was phenomenal. I actually broke even on the tour as well, which, as an independent musician and, a low-level musician, let's be honest, I'm not selling out venues or bringing a huge crowd in. I managed to break even, which was fucking, a phenomenal moment, and it shows how viable being a musician is. People think being a musician, you have to be at the highest level, you have to be like Beatlemania or Kiss or whoever the fuck to try and make a living, but you don't. You can be, a low level musician as long as you're putting the time and motivation in and playing smart, working smart, not living outside your means. You can actually make it work, and I love touring. So to be able to look and sit there and be like, I've just done I think it was a 10-day tour around Europe, that was such an amazing moment. And I've been lucky enough to tour with Blackwater Conspiracy twice, and with the Plot Hounds and Sean James, and I think those tours are the biggest things that stick out for me, because being a musician full time in that setting is a completely different game to being a musician all the other time. It is literally, venue, show, travel, venue, show, travel, and it really shows the grueling side of musicians, the less glamorous side of musicians. That is, to me, the favorite part of it, and I love getting to travel around new places. And when people ask why you're there, you'd be like, to perform and to play and to connect with people. And that's, as a musician, that's what you want to do. You want to connect to people, and that is what I love to do, and that is what always stands out for me on these type of things. As a musician, those are my defining moments. And question 5, if I were a soup, what flavour would I be? Fuck off, Josh. Fucking Tate McLean gets Camping with Bigfoot or Swimming with the Loch Ness Monster, and I get a soup question. You asshole. I fucking hate soup. If you don't want controversy, don't come to the Rogue Country Facebook page. I hate soup. It's a fucking pointless meal, that. Just have something solid. Just either chew it and deal with the effort of chewing, or have a fucking cup of tea or something. What the fuck is the point of soup? Fuck soup. Fuck it to hell and back. I wouldn't even want to be a flavour of a soup. I'd be water, because water would be more beneficial than soup. Thank you so much for my Going Rogue segment. The Next Life, my full debut album, is out right now, and it is here. And it's on gatefold white vinyl. Yeah, And, you know, support Going Rogue, support Rogue Country. We have a Facebook page, we have a Facebook group, we have an Instagram, Rogue Country featured artists, and there's so many fucking good Going Rogue segments I've been really enjoying. So thanks so much, guys. I've been Mike West. Peace.